I'm standing here in the epicenter of the Palisades fire. This is one of many fires that took place in Los Angeles, and you probably heard about it on TV. Maybe you saw interviews of Hollywood celebrities, actors, talking about how they lost their homes or they had friends who lost homes in this fire. Now, this is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. A lot of Hollywood actors, financiers, other wealthy people live in this area. And this is undoubtedly one of the reasons the Palisades have gotten a lot of attention in the media, a lot of coverage. And in that coverage, you've probably heard pundits referring to this as a natural disaster. But this framing really hides the fact that so many aspects of this crisis are man-made. One of those aspects being the conduct of the real estate industry in the lead-up to these fires. In the last few years, the real estate industry has been lobbying against legislation in Los Angeles that would prevent the industry from building more housing in high fire risk areas like the Palisades. And because of their efforts lobbying against these bills, they were able to build a huge density of houses, which basically became a tinderbox when the Palisades fire began. And this was one of the primary reasons that the Palisades fire burned so strong and so long, and why the fire was able to spread to neighboring areas.
To understand the core of the issue here, first we have to understand what makes the Palisades such a high-risk area. The Palisades are a community built near the Pacific coast, on the outskirts of the city. Unlike urban centers, as you can see here, homes in the Palisades are built right in the middle of forests and vegetation that become a tinderbox, especially during dry seasons like the one California just experienced this winter. These areas that border undeveloped wildlands are called the wildland-urban interface, and are the areas where fires usually start. Some kind of spark, whether it be a loose cigarette butt or downed power lines, causes vegetation to catch on fire, which then quickly spreads to the homes surrounding it. In 2019, state authorities warned that rapid housing development in the wildland-urban interface was potentially putting millions of people in the direct path of wildfires, and called on the real estate industry to shift development to lower-risk urban areas. Now, in a logical and forward-thinking society, houses wouldn't be built in areas where they're extremely likely to burn down. But in a system where houses are built based on whichever location will make the housing developers the most money, it makes total sense to build houses wherever they make the most profit, regardless of whatever risks come with it down the line. That, according to the housing industry, would be someone else's problem.
You can just see the density of the housing in this neighborhood. I mean, this is one house, there's another house here and another house. I mean, it's just, block after block is just full of this high density housing. And, this is a very wealthy neighborhood. So we're talking about huge profit margins for the real estate industry here. It's plain to see why they wanted to continue building housing here.
Despite being a textbook case of a high-risk fire area, housing profiteers increased housing construction in the Palisades because of how profitable it was. The Palisades offer views of the Pacific Ocean that attract some of the most high-wealth individuals in the country looking to build expensive waterfront mansions. An investigation published by reporter Katya Schwenk for The Lever shows that real estate developers not only ignored warnings from the state, but spent millions of dollars lobbying against laws that would have prevented them from building in these high-risk areas. In 2021, State Senator Henry Stern put forward a bill that would have blocked real estate developments in high-risk fire areas. The bill faced an onslaught of real estate industry lobbyists and ended up dying in committee a year later. Another state senator put forward a bill that didn't even stop housing development, it just made housing developers use fireproof materials in their construction. But this was still too restrictive for housing profiteers, who insisted on being able to use cheaper, flammable building materials to protect their profit margins. Overall, the California real estate lobby spends millions of dollars every year donating money to politicians and churning out ads promoting their interests. These lobbying efforts allowed the real estate industry to get away with building developments like the Palisades Highlands, one of the newest developments in the high-risk Pacific Coast area. It was ultimately fires in this development that helped the Palisades fire spread to lower-risk neighborhoods. The legacy of the Palisades fire shouldn't be that a bunch of actors and film directors lost their mansions and that we should feel sorry for them because they were in our favorite movie. The legacy is the same legacy housing profiteers have left in every city in America. The legacy of their greed and how it uproots our lives on a daily basis. As it stands now, the real estate industry won't be held legally accountable for lobbying against these fire safety measures that could have saved thousands of homes. And with discussion of rebuilding efforts already underway, housing profiteers are undoubtedly already laying out their plans to maximize profits off of the recovery. Not even 2 weeks after these fires, there are already reports that landlords in Los Angeles are raising rents as much as 124% in the hopes of exploiting the newly homeless in their hour of deepest needs. California Governor Gavin Newsom said in an interview that he's already assembled a team to implement a Marshall Plan to create an LA 2.0. There's no doubt that there needs to be an LA 2.0, but the question will be, who will an LA 2.0 serve? Will it continue to be a city run by housing profiteers, or will the fires serve as the final straw in a long list of crimes committed by this parasitic industry so that Los Angeles is rebuilt in a way that puts the needs of people and the planet first?